I would have stepped on it. I certainly would have looked at it very carefully because it had some things in there that I don't think we were prepared to defend. Once that cat was out of the bag, you know, I couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again, and it lived its own life.
I just find this very interesting that the U.S. Air Force or government generally says that they don't investigate UFOs since the termination of Blue Book, and yet you're convinced that there was an investigation that took place. So who gave the orders to do that?
It certainly didn't come from anybody that was normally on the base other than the OSI.
I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my daughter. I had a top secret clearance, and when I was told to shut up, I shut up.
去る11月17日、日航貨物機がアンカレッジで UFO を目撃した。そしてその事実が1ヶ月後、共同通信により新聞各紙に発表された。
What I'm about to tell you is about an event that never happened.
For an event that never happened, FAA official John Callahan certainly has a lot of evidence.
They brought the voice tapes.
He kept audio recordings between the cockpit and the tower as the incident unfolded. He has 30 minutes of taped radar that confirms the UFO, a chart that documents all the objects in the 747's flight path, and the official FAA report.
Event that never happened.
According to Callahan, all of this was presented to the CIA in a private meeting.
When the pilot first reported the UFO, he described it as a huge ball with lights running around it. He said it was about 4 times bigger than the 747 he was riding. And remember, the 747 has an elevator. And he's looking out the window and he sees something that's 4 times the size of his aircraft.
What you're about to see and hear are excerpts from the actual radar and cockpit conversations as the incident unfolded.
Hit on the radar, approximately 5 miles in trail, your 6 o'clock position. Do you concur? Commander 1628, sir, if you're able to identify the type of aircraft, if you can tell whether it's military or civilian. Okay. It is what? It is an unknown. Okay, we've lost contact with it now.
2030. We're almost on time. I think we're within 20 seconds or so.
So one time he says it's over here at 12 o'clock and 8 miles, and when the antenna goes by, we see a target there. 10 seconds later, it is now behind him, 6-7 miles behind him. So it's going from 8 miles out here to 6 or 7 miles back here, really in only 5 or 6 seconds. When I went back to headquarters, I gave Admiral England a quick briefing and showed him the video. He set up a briefing with the President Reagan scientific staff. He told me my function was to hand this operation off to those people. And those people ended up being the CIA, the President's group, a bunch of grunts that came to the meeting. The CIA said to all the people there, this event never happened. We were never here. And you're all sworn to secrecy. We are confiscating all this data. And they did. They took everything that was in the room. In those days, when you printed out something from the computer...
Fortunately, he kept copies of everything back in his office.
That's the end of my speech. Who are you going to believe? Your lying eyes or the government?
And, well, how do you feel about your husband coming forward?
Well, I think that that's John. John is comfortable in what he says and what he does, and that if what he sees, he will tell what he sees, and I don't think anybody is going to tell him that he can't. And I'm proud of him. I think he does a good job, and he's telling the world what it should know.
One of our greatest success stories was getting General Jafari from Iran to D.C. It took 3 months of negotiations to get his visa. Jafari was one of 2 Iranian fighter pilots ordered to intercept a UFO hovering over Tehran, Iran in 1976.
The pilot in the first jet lost instrumentation and communication. When he got too close to the brilliant object, so he headed back. About 10 minutes later, they scrambled a second jet which I was piloting.
General Jafari scrambled his F-4 Phantom jet to get a closer look. He gave us this Iranian Air Force reenactment film featuring the original witnesses and planes. Even though Jafari's F-4 fighter jet was traveling at the speed of sound, it was nowhere near fast enough.
Imagine, when I was looking here, at about 70 miles out, and he jumps all of a sudden 10 degrees to my right. In this angle, 10 degrees, this part which it was traveling becomes about 26.7 miles per moment. I don't say per second, maybe less than a second.
Jafari was flying towards the UFO when a smaller object separated from it and headed right at him. His only instinct was to shoot at it. But that turned out to be a bad idea.
All the instruments were fluctuating with the garbles and the radio, so I was really frightened. So I decided to turn away, and I said, if it comes closer than about 4 miles, I will jump out. So,
having maneuvered away from the object, Jafari's control panel returned to normal, and he regained contact with the tower. Despite the United States government's claim that they have not investigated UFOs since the closing of Project Blue Book in 1969, this Defense Intelligence Agency report, made in 1976, indicates otherwise. It was obtained through the Freedom of Information Act.
So you think the reason why they're not telling us is because they can't trust everyone?
They can't trust, and the second one, maybe, as I said, they don't want people to be panicked.
Now, we don't take sides on 360. We like to present you with facts and information from different angles and let you make up your own minds about things. That's particularly true with mysteries. And for many Americans, there's no mystery greater than UFOs. James Fox helped organize today's UFO-related event in Washington. He joins me now, along with astronomer, former Air Force pilot and skeptic, James McGahey. Thanks for being with us, both of you. Why should, what this panel is calling for is essentially some sort of government investigation of it. Why shouldn't there be further investigation?
Well, there have been investigations, and it was... Well, hang on a second. Let me just state this clearly. One of the things you keep interrupting me, sir, please. One of the things I want to mention very quickly is that the official position from the Air Force is that they terminated Project Blue Book in 1969, and there have been no official investigations since then. However, we found evidence to suggest the contrary on a number of cases. In Tehran, the general said the Americans were making discrete inquiries about the case there, as well as Bentwaters, England. The colonel said that the OSI came in and investigated that case.
So you believe there is a government investigation going on, you just want it more public?
They're making discrete inquiries, unofficially, yes.
Well, UFOs are basically a modern space-age mythology. It's a conspiracy wrapped in superstition and myth.
Where does this superstition and myth come from? And how could it be so pervasive?
Within a few months of the original saucer report, practically everyone in America was conscious of flying saucers.
Oh, there's an alien that's trying to kill me.
Oh! Now, did you see a UFO? I did, and the rest of the account, it was unidentified flying object, okay? It's like, and so, wait, we're just getting started.
You gotta be kidding. And then I would say, where was it? What did it look like? What were you doing? How much had you had before you saw it?
It was probably some other satellite or a fast-moving airplane that they saw. I wouldn't believe them.
I mean, I know there's been sightings, random, not well documented.
Well, Jay Leno once asked, if these extraterrestrials are so highly evolved, how come it is that they only address people named Bubba who are out hunting and fishing?
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Wilfried de Brouwer. I'm a retired Major General of the Belgian Air Force, and I was Chief Operations in the Air Staff at the time that an exceptional UFO wave took place over Belgium. The nature of this sighting was such that people identify a large triangular platform with very intensive spotlights and also hovering, being static at a certain moment, being able to fly at very low speeds and then accelerating to very high speeds in seconds. In addition, these objects didn't make any noise. It was only a humming noise.
Were there ever any inquiries from the American government to the Belgian Air Force regarding unidentified flying objects?
Yes. Well, some informal inquiries, but nothing formal. I would have liked to see a formal request. But some people came to my office and asked about this phenomenon and also what we thought about it. And asked to have a copy of a video which was taken by one of the aircraft which tried to intercept one of these objects. And I said, yes, you can have a copy, providing there is a formal request. And we never received a formal request.
Hello, 544, Roger. I do have a primary contact now.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming this morning. My name is Ray Bowyer, and I fly a civilian airliner as captain. I've been invited here due to my sighting last April of multiple as yet unidentified objects over the Channel Islands region of the English Channel.
Thanks for joining us. Pilots and aircraft passengers have confirmed sightings of a large unidentified flying object off the coast of Guernsey. The mysterious shapes were spotted earlier in the week and are described as a long, motionless object that measured up to a mile wide.
Hello, 544, zone plus message.
Do you have any traffic, can't really say how far, but by 12 o'clock level? Roger, I've got a very bright object, well, it wouldn't say how far, extremely bright, yellow-orange object, straight ahead, very flat platform. We're looking at it through binoculars as we speak.
Hello, 544, Roger. I do have a primary contact now, very faint primary contact, just to the left, probably you're 11 o'clock this time, in a range of about 4 trap miles.
Roger. I've got a definite contact by 12 o'clock. Very bright yellow object looking, well, like a cigar.
Jersey Bladder 832, the zone asked us to look if we could see an object which is being seen by A-Line at the moment. We've got something about 8 o'clock resembling the description.
Roger, and 832, Roger, what range would you estimate that target?
Around about the similar range to Albany from us now.
Well, looking through binoculars as I am now, there's a second one just appeared behind the first one from where I am.